Have you ever looked at a massive, multi-million-dollar tech project and wondered what makes one a huge success while another becomes a total train wreck? Well, it often boils down to a single, really powerful document. And today, we're going to break that document down and turn it into a simple, clear blueprint for success. Okay, so let's just ask the big question right up front. How in the world do you build a huge tech project that actually works? I mean, we're talking about massive undertakings here. Super high risk, but also potentially super high reward. And the secret you'll find isn't just about writing better code. It's about having a much, much better plan. So, to really get this, let's look at a real-world example. Meet Giant Agro Processing Limited, or JAPL for short. They're a huge agricultural company, and let's just say they were staring down some seriously expensive problems. The stakes were incredibly high.
And check this out, the details are what really matter. That first point, G1, G4 tracking errors, that's not just some corporate jargon. It refers to the 4 generations of seed potatoes, right from a tiny plant in a lab to the seeds sold commercially. Losing track of that meant losing crops, losing quality. Then you add in painfully slow manual audits, frustrating delays getting certifications to export their product, and an inventory system that was basically a mess. You can see how every single one of these issues was bleeding money from their bottom line, every single day.
So what's the fix? Well, this is where the Business Requirements Document, or BRD, comes in. And I know what you're thinking. Sounds like some dry, boring corporate document, right? But no. Think of it more like an architect's blueprint for a skyscraper. It's the one document that connects the business problem to the tech solution. It is, without a doubt, the best defense you have against project failure. So, how do you even start to build a blueprint like this? Well, you don't jump straight into code or software. You start by laying a really solid foundation. It's all about digging deep to understand the why behind the project, and maybe even more importantly, the who. So let's walk through what they did step by step. First, GAPL had to take a hard look at their current system, which was basically a chaotic web of Excel spreadsheets. Then, they identified the gaps, like that expensive yield loss we just talked about. They assessed the risks, stuff like how do we move all this old data without messing it up? And here's the absolute key part. They documented exactly what success would look like, a 20% drop in waste. They did all this before anyone even thought about writing a single line of code.
And this is so important. It shows you who this whole thing is really for. It's not just a project for the IT department or for the executives. No way. It has to work for the farmers in the field, the production teams in the warehouse, and the scientists in the lab. A project only succeeds if it solves real problems for everyone on this list. You have to figure this out up front. It's totally non-negotiable.
Right, so with that solid foundation, GAPL could turn all those vague problems into crystal clear goals. See, vague ideas like be more efficient just don't cut it. You need hard, measurable targets. To fix their messy inventory, they aimed to scale up to 5,000 tons a year. To stop those export delays, the goal was 95% on-time distribution. These are the numbers that the entire project will be measured against.
Okay, now we get to the really fun part. We've done the survey, we've laid the foundation, and now it's time to actually draw the blueprint. This is where we take all those big picture goals and turn them into a concrete plan for what the system is really going to do.
But this brings up a huge classic problem. How do you stop a project from just getting bigger and bigger with endless requests for new features? What we call scope creep. It's probably the #1 killer of project budgets and timelines. The answer? You build a fence. And this slide? This is that fence. The BRD makes it perfectly clear what is in scope, the stuff we are definitely building, like the seed tracking and inventory management, but just as important, it spells out what's out of scope. So, nope, we are not building an e-commerce site right now. No, this won't include a new payroll system. Drawing this line in the sand, it's the only way you stay on budget and on time. Absolutely crucial. So how do you decide what goes inside that fence? Well, you have to get inside the user's head. The analysis team asked questions just like this one, trying to understand the daily frustrations. For the team at GAPL, it meant having no warning if a cold storage unit was about to fail, or no way to tell a farmer what their yield was likely to be. Solving these real-world pains becomes the heart of the project.
And that leads directly to prioritizing features. GAPL used this really simple but super powerful method called Moscow. It stands for must have, should have, could have, and won't have. It forces you to be ruthless in a good way. Must-haves, like the seed genealogy tracking, are the absolute non-negotiable core of the system.
Should-haves, like those automated alerts, are important, but maybe not for day one. This kind of sorting makes sure the most critical stuff actually gets built first.
Okay, so we know what the system will do, but that's only half the story. The other half is how well it's going to do it. These are what we call non-functional requirements. The system absolutely has to be online 99% of the time. It needs to load in under 3 seconds, even if you're on a phone in the middle of a field, and it has to be built to handle twice the business without breaking a sweat.
So the blueprint is drawn. It looks great on paper, but a blueprint is pretty useless if you can't actually build the house, right? This next part is all about turning those beautiful plans into real, concrete actions.
All right, this is where the plan gets technical, but stick with me. GAPL figured out they needed a hybrid cloud platform to work in their city offices and their rural locations. They needed APIs, which are just like digital messengers, so their new system could talk to their lab equipment. And they planned to use IoT sensors, little internet-connected gadgets, to keep an eye on those vital cold storage units 24/7. You see, this is where the blueprint stops being a document and starts becoming a real, tangible thing.
And for a business like GAPL, this slide is an absolute make or break. We're talking about compliance. They have to follow super strict agricultural laws and export standards. So the BRD makes sure those rules are baked right into the system's design, with features like automatic audit trails. This is the stuff that helps you avoid massive fines or, even worse, get your shipments turned away at the border.
And here's the part that ties everything together. The final piece of this puzzle is connecting every single person's job to the new technology. The BRD becomes this master map, detailing every real-world process, from the scientist in the tissue lab all the way to the truck driver dispatching the final product, and shows exactly how the new system will make their job better.
So, we've walked through the problem, the foundation, and the detailed blueprint, but you know this all leads to the one question that every executive is going to ask: does this actually make financial sense? Was all this planning really worth it?
First up, the investment. The total cost for everything, software, hardware, getting it all set up, came to an estimated $600,000. Now that's a big number. It's exactly the kind of number that makes a CFO very nervous if you don't have a rock-solid plan to back it up. But then, you have the return. Remember all those problems? The lost crops, the slow audits, the export headaches. By building a system that was laser-focused on solving those exact problems, the projected annual savings came out to $150,000. And this is the punchline. You do the math, and the project is expected to completely pay for itself in just 12 months. I mean, a 1-year break-even? For a major tech project like this, that's not just good, that's a home run. It makes the whole thing a no-brainer. And that's really the ultimate takeaway here. The business requirements document completely transformed this project. It stopped being a giant, scary, risky expense, and it became what it should be: a predictable, strategic, and very profitable investment. And it's all because they took the time to build that blueprint first.
So, we just deconstructed the blueprint for Potato Seed Company's giant tech challenge. And it really makes you think, right? The real question is, what's the blueprint for your next big challenge?